Hi, this is Terry from Sunshine Crafts Creative Department, and today we're going to make a cute recycled wine cork reindeer ornament. First of all, you're going to start with a couple of wine corks. You can use regular cork or synthetic cork. A couple of brown chenille stems for the antlers. 1/8 inch wooden dowel. You could probably use toothpicks, I guess, but this is a little bit thicker, a little more sturdy. A ruler and just some other basic things, a needle tool, and all of the other items that you're going to embellish your reindeer with. So let's just get started. First, you're going to decide which wine cork is going to be your reindeer's body and which will be his head. And then you're going to take a needle tool and decide about where you want his head to be and make a hole with your needle tool. Then I'm just going to take a little piece of wooden dowel. It doesn't need to be real long. I'm just going to secure his head onto his body with a little bit of glue and a wooden dowel just to ensure that he stays together, because I've actually made these before and they've fallen apart over the years. So I'm just going to take a little bit of glue to secure the dowel, and again I pre-made the hole with the needle tool and just make it to where you can fit the dowel in there. And then I'm going to press the dowel in there. It can be a little tricky to get it in there. You just got to kind of work it in there. And then I'm going to do the same on the other cork that is the reindeer's body. Just going to make a hole with my needle tool, put a little bit of glue on there. This is really the trickiest part of the entire project, and I had to kind of play with it on the sample. So once you get a feel for it, it's a little easier right now, but it took me a little longer when I put together the sample. Okay, and there you have the basic shape of your reindeer's body. Then, again, earlier I had my 1/8 inch wooden dowel. I cut it into 4 approximately 2-inch pieces, and I just cut it with the regular pair of scissors, as you saw before. Now I'm going to take my needle tool and I'm going to put holes in the bottom of the cork to secure our reindeer's legs. So I'm just going to make 4 holes. I'm going to try to, make them kind of even with my needle tool. These needle tools come in really handy. I can't even tell you how many projects I use this thing for. Okay, so I've made my 4 holes on the bottom of the cork with my needle tool. So now I'm just going to put his legs in one at a time, securing them with a small amount of glue. Again, this is just the tricky part, getting the dowel stuck into the cork. Whoops, oh no, I broke his leg. He broke his leg skiing. I'll have to just cut another 2-inch piece of dowel, which is no big deal. That's why it's always good to have extra supplies on hand. I might need to make the hole a little bit bigger with my needle tool. Alright, let's just cut one more leg since he broke his leg. Okay. We got 2 of his legs. We're almost there. Try not to burn yourself with your glue gun like I just did. And for this little guy, we decided to use chenille stems for his antlers, but you could use foam. You could cut foam the shape of the antlers. You could also use craft wire, aluminum wire, like a thicker gauge wire, and just bend it into the shape. I'll show you in a moment how I made his antlers. Okay. Alright, and the hardest part is done. There's your reindeer's body with his legs. He might not stand up right now. He might be a little top heavy because his head, but don't worry, the skis will even that out. And plus he'll be hanging. Anyway, onto the antlers. I made this antler with 1 chenille stem. So it's a lot simpler to make than it looks. You just take your chenille stem, move some of this stuff out of the way here, and bend it in half. And then I used little pony beads to put little ornaments on his antlers. So I'm going to go ahead and just put those on as I build his antlers. So I'll go ahead and put one up here. And then you just kind of have to use the finished one as a guide. You just bend your stem into the shape of the antlers. And if you mess up, that's okay, because you can just unbend it and bend it again. Or if all else fails, just switch to another chenille stem. So there's 1/2. So I'm just going to mirror the same thing on the other side so that they're even. Basically. And you can see that that's very simple. So there you have that. Whoops. And so now that I have my basic shape, I'm going to go ahead and put the ornaments, his antler ornaments, on his antlers. As you see, it's real quick and easy to do. And you can choose whatever colors you want. You can do red and white to match his scarf, any colors you want. I just chose a random pattern. Okay, then you'll just kind of bend it to get it into the shape that you want it. And don't worry that, you know, it's a little uneven. If it's a little uneven, because you're going to cut off most of that excess anyway. So now that I have my 2 antlers basically shaped the way that I want them, you're just going to pick up your reindeer and kind of decide exactly where you want them to be, and we're going to glue them to the back of his head. So you want to leave, when you cut off the excess, you want to leave probably about a 1/2 inch roughly, maybe a little bit more depending on how long you want his antlers to be. So you're just going to cut off the excess with your scissors, and then put some glue on the back of the cork, and glue the first antler on. You might need a little bit of extra glue on top just to hold it. Be careful not to burn yourself, and you just have to hold it on there for a few seconds to set the glue. Then you're going to do the same thing with the other side. Just cut off the excess. Put some more glue. And I like using the chenille, because once you have them on there, you can bend them so that they look the way that you want them to look. You might need to wait for the glue to dry a little before you bend them too much, but and then they're fuzzy because there is fuzz on real antlers. So anyway, he's taking shape. We're almost done. I went ahead and glued on our sample, glued a little black pony bead on the bottom of each leg, just to kind of cover the end of the dowel, but also to simulate hooves. So I'm just going to put a little tiny bit of glue on the end of each one of those. And put the black pony bead on there. Very simple. Also, I chose a scarf to put on him. We actually have a scarf and hat set. I'm just going to use the scarf out of that, but you could use felt. You could leave the scarf off altogether. You could put jingle bells around his neck. You could put a bow around his neck. Lots of different variations that you could do with this little guy. Okay. Now the next thing I'm going to do, we have these cute little timeless mini skis. You could even make the skis from craft sticks. You can just paint them and glue them on. They could be the skis instead of these if these aren't available, or if you want to make them a different color. This is just convenient because this is already done. And it has the cute little poles too. So all I'm going to do now is just position my reindeer on his skis. And you might have to just, wiggle his legs around a little bit so that they're even. And then just put a little bit of glue on the bottom of each foot. And glue them onto his skis. Oops. Wait for the glue to set first, because he's still a little top heavy. And actually, once you get the skis on him, it evens out a little bit. I think, oh, broke his leg again. Darn it. He's a little lopsided. I'm just going to go ahead and glue that together. My reindeer doesn't even have to start skiing before he breaks his legs. Maybe he shouldn't ski after all. Okay, maybe it's a sign. He should just not ski. Two broken legs. Okay, we'll wait for that to set a little bit. There you go. Now the next thing I'm going to do is put his scarf on. As I said, you could put a wreath around his neck. You could make a wreath with a pine stem. You could use an already made miniature wreath. You probably want to put that on before you attach his head to his body if you're going to do something like that. You could put a bell around his neck. You could put bells on his antlers, whatever you want to do. And what I did when I made my sample is I folded the scarf because it's a little thick, and then figured out exactly where I wanted it to be, and then just added a little bit of glue around his neck. You can make it even, you could make it longer on one side, whatever you want to do. Just get the glue all the way around his neck. And this also will to help hold him all together. And flip this side over, the first side, some glue. Oops. Got another casualty over here on the ski slope. Okay. Now we have his scarf on him. And I just took, on the samples that I did, I wanted it to look like he was kind of going downhill. So I glued the scarf to his side. This one's kind of already doing it all on its own. So we can just leave it just like that. Next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and attach some eyes. You could use pom-poms. I'm just using tiny little wiggle eyes. These are actually sticky back, but I don't think that the sticky is sturdy enough, so I'm going to go ahead and use a little bit of hot glue on the back of the eye and put it on his face. And then I'm going to use a 7mm pom-pom for his nose. I made Rudolph over here, so now I think I'll just use a black pom-pom for this guy's nose. You could use brown, you could use black, red, whatever color you want. A little bit of glue, attach his nose. And then the very last thing that we're going to do is just add a screw hook, a screw eye hook, which is this little thing here. It's just it's got a screw bottom with a little eye hook. We're going to put it into the top of his head, just like this one, in order to attach the ornament hook. So what I'm going to do in order to do that is I'm going to take my needle tool again, and I'm going to just start the hole for that. And I'm going to put a little bit of glue just to secure it in place. And then I'm going to take the screw eye hook and, whoops, hopefully not drop it in the glue, just screw that in to the top of his head. And then your reindeer is all finished. Just add an ornament hook and you're all set. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and attach his poles. So I just put a little bit of glue on the pole. And I'm just going to, because he can't use his arms, so whoops. I just attached it to the side of the scarf just so that they're on there. You don't have to put the poles on, but they're just cute. I just thought they were really cute, so I wanted to go ahead and add them. Very simple. Wonderful thing, a glue gun. And there you have it. Your finished reindeer ornament with his poles.